Imagine this, you're on a tight deadline for a project and suddenly a conflict arises with your client. What do? Conflicts, while inevitable, can be a thorny issue, especially when you're working independently as a freelancer. But fear not, because understanding how to navigate these tricky waters can be the game changer you need in your freelance career. Conflict resolution is a critical skill in the world of freelancing. It's the art and science of turning a potentially damaging situation into an opportunity for growth, understanding, and mutual respect. It's about creating a win-win situation out of a problem, allowing you to maintain a healthy professional relationship with your clients. So, where does conflict usually arise in the freelance world? Well, there are several common scenarios. It could be over the scope of work where there's a misunderstanding about what was agreed upon at the start of the project. It could be about deadlines, where unanticipated issues cause delays that the client isn't happy with. Or it could be about the quality of work, where the client's expectations aren't met with the final product. In some cases, conflicts can also arise from external factors beyond your control, such as sudden changes in the client's business environment or personal circumstances. These can lead to changes in project requirements, budget cuts, or even cancellations. But here's the good news. No matter the cause of the conflict, there are always ways to address it. It starts with understanding the problem, empathizing with the client, and then strategizing an approach that resolves the issue while maintaining the integrity of your professional relationship. Remember, every conflict is an opportunity to learn and improve. It's an opportunity to showcase your professionalism and commitment to your work. And most importantly, it's an opportunity to build stronger, more resilient relationships with your clients. So buckle up and join us on this journey as we delve deeper into the world of conflict resolution for freelancers. Because understanding how to navigate through these conflicts can be the game changer you need in your freelance career. The first step in any conflict resolution process is identifying the conflict. Now, this might sound like a no-brainer, right? But you'd be surprised at how often we tend to overlook this crucial step. Identifying the conflict isn't merely about acknowledging that a problem exists, it's about understanding the root cause of the conflict. You see, conflicts aren't always as simple as they appear on the surface. There's often more to them than meets the eye. There might be underlying issues, unspoken expectations, or miscommunications that have led to the current situation. So how do you get to the root of the conflict? Well, it starts with asking the right questions. And no, I'm not talking about the who, what, where, when kind of questions. Those are important, yes, but they only give you the basic facts. To truly understand the conflict, you need to dig deeper. You need to ask questions that help you understand the why and the how. Questions like, why did this issue arise in the first place? What were the expectations and how were they not met? How did the situation escalate to this point? But asking the right questions is only half the battle. The other half is actively listening to the client's concerns. And by actively listening, I mean really paying attention to what they're saying, and even what they're not saying. This means putting aside your own thoughts and judgments for a moment and truly focusing on understanding their perspective. It means empathizing with their feelings and validating their concerns. Identifying the conflict is like peeling an onion. Each layer you peel back reveals a little more about the core issue. It's not always easy, and sometimes it might even make you want to cry, just like peeling an onion. But it's a necessary step in the conflict resolution process. Remember, you can't solve a problem if you don't fully understand it. So take the time to dig deep and identify the conflict. Once you've identified the conflict, it's time to strategize your approach. Now, you might be wondering, how do I even begin to strategize? Well, it's simpler than it seems. First, let's start by breaking down the process. The initial step is understanding the root cause of the conflict. This will allow you to address the issue directly, rather than just treating the symptoms. Think of it as a doctor diagnosing a patient. You wouldn't want to treat a headache when the real problem is a sinus infection, would you? Next, you need to consider the client's perspective. This might be a bit challenging, especially if you're emotionally involved in the situation. But remember, empathy is key in conflict resolution. Try to put yourself in their shoes. What are their concerns? What are their needs? By understanding their standpoint, you can propose a solution that satisfies both parties. Now let's talk about creating a win-win situation. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that conflict resolution is a zero-sum game, that there must be a loser for every winner. But that's not the case. The goal here is to find a resolution that benefits both you and the client. It's not about winning or losing, but about finding a common ground where both parties can thrive. Finally, be flexible and open to compromise. You might have a preferred solution in mind, but it's important to stay open to other possibilities. Be willing to adjust your approach if it means reaching a resolution that works for everyone. Remember, the key to resolving conflicts is not to bulldoze your way through, but to navigate the situation with tact and understanding. It's about building bridges, not burning them. So there you have it. That's how you strategize your approach to conflict resolution. It's a process that requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to compromise. But the payoff is immense. Not only will you be able to resolve the current conflict, but you'll also be better equipped to prevent future ones. A well-thought-out strategy not only resolves the current conflict, but also prevents future ones. So keep these tips in mind, and you'll be well on your way to becoming a master at conflict resolution. After strategizing your approach, the next step is communicating your resolution to the client. Now, this is where your communication skills come into play. It's one thing to come up with a solution, but it's an entirely different challenge to effectively communicate it to the client. Imagine this: you've spent hours, maybe even days, devising a brilliant resolution to a problem. But when you present it to the client, they don't seem to understand, or worse, they feel misunderstood or unheard. This is where clear and empathetic communication becomes critical. Let's start with clarity. Your communication should be as transparent and straightforward as possible. Avoid jargon and complex terms that might confuse the client. Instead, explain your resolution in a way that is easy to understand. Use simple language, and if necessary, provide examples to help illustrate your point. Remember, the goal here is not to impress the client with your extensive vocabulary, but to make sure they understand and agree with your proposed solution. Now, let's talk about empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. When communicating your resolution, try to put yourself in the client's shoes. Understand their concerns, their frustrations, and their expectations. This will not only help you convey your resolution more effectively, but will also show the client that you genuinely care about their concerns, which can go a long way in building trust and rapport. Here's a tip. Don't just tell them what you're going to do, tell them why you're doing it. Show them how your resolution addresses their concerns and how it benefits them. This will help them see the value in your solution and make them more likely to accept it. And finally, be open to feedback. Remember, communication is a two-way street. Encourage the client to express their thoughts and concerns about your proposed resolution. This will not only help you refine your solution, but will also make the client feel valued and heard. The way you communicate your resolution can make or break the resolution process, so ensure you do it right. Now that you've communicated your resolution, it's time to implement it. The implementation phase is where words transform into actions. It's the part where you make good on your promises and commitments to your client. This stage requires diligence, patience, and most importantly, consistency. You'll need to be dedicated and follow through on your commitments, because it's here that your client will really begin to gauge your reliability and trustworthiness. The process of implementing your resolution may vary, depending on the nature of the conflict and the solution you've devised, but there are a few key steps that are generally applicable. First, ensure you have a clear, detailed plan of action. This plan should outline the steps you'll take, the timeline for each step, and the desired outcomes. This will not only keep you on track, but also give your client a clear expectation of what's to come. Next, keep your client in the loop. Open communication is vital during this stage. Regularly update them on your progress, any changes or challenges you encounter, and reassure them that you're working diligently towards resolving the issue. This continuous communication fosters a sense of transparency and trust, crucial ingredients in any successful professional relationship. Remember to be flexible. Despite your best-laid plans, you may encounter unforeseen obstacles or setbacks. Instead of panicking or giving up, adapt and adjust your plan as necessary. Show your client that you're capable of handling challenges and still deliver on your commitments. Finally, once the resolution has been implemented, seek feedback from your client. This will help you understand if your resolution has indeed addressed their concerns and what can be improved for future reference. Implementing a resolution isn't just about fixing a problem, it's also about building and strengthening your relationship with your client. It's a testament to your professionalism, your commitment, and your capacity to deliver on your promises. Remember, the resolution process doesn't end until the conflict is fully resolved. The journey of conflict resolution is a continuous one, a cycle of understanding, strategizing, communicating, implementing, and reviewing. So, keep learning, keep improving, and most importantly, keep resolving. Finally, it's important to review the resolution process, reflecting on the steps taken, the strategies used, and the outcomes achieved is an integral part of conflict resolution. This process is not just about resolving the issue at hand. It's about growing, learning, and improving our approach to conflict resolution for future situations. Think of it like a game of chess. Each move you make is a decision, and each decision contributes to the outcome of the game. After the game, you don't just pack up the board and move on. You analyze your moves, identify what worked and what didn't, and use those insights to strategize for the next game. Similarly, after resolving a conflict, ask yourself what went well. Identify the strategies that were effective. Did you build rapport, communicate effectively, or negotiate a win-win solution? Recognize these strengths and remember them for future conflicts. Then consider what could have been better. Maybe you were too quick to compromise, or perhaps you didn't fully understand the other party's perspective before proposing a resolution. These are areas for improvement. They're not failures, but opportunities to grow and enhance your conflict resolution skills. Remember, every conflict is unique, just like every game of chess. What worked in one situation might not work in another. That's why it's crucial to have a repertoire of strategies and techniques at your disposal. Reviewing the resolution process helps to build that repertoire. Also, don't forget to consider the feedback from the other party involved in the conflict. Their perspective can provide valuable insights into your approach and performance. It might be uncomfortable to hear criticism, but it's a powerful tool for growth. So, after resolving a conflict, take a moment to reflect. Review the process, identify what went well and what could be improved, and use that knowledge to enhance your conflict resolution skills. Each conflict presents a learning opportunity. So, make the most of it, and continuously improve your conflict resolution skills. And there you have it, a comprehensive guide on how to resolve conflicts promptly as a freelancer. Let's take a quick tour back through what we've covered. We kicked things off by understanding the importance of conflict resolution. It's not just about keeping the peace, it's about maintaining professional relationships, fostering a positive work environment, and ensuring your reputation remains intact. We then delved into identifying the conflict. Remember, you can't resolve a conflict if you don't know what it is. Take a step back, analyze the situation, and pinpoint the root cause. It's about being proactive rather than reactive. Then we moved on to strategizing your approach. This is where your analytical and problem-solving skills come into play. Weigh the pros and cons of various strategies and choose the one that best suits the situation. It might be negotiation, mediation, or even bringing in a third party. Communicating your resolution was our next stop. It's not enough to have a plan, you need to communicate it effectively. Be clear, concise, and assertive. Your communication skills are just as vital as your problem-solving skills in this stage. We then discussed implementing the resolution. This is where you put your plan into action. Remember, it's not about winning or losing. It's about finding a solution that's fair and satisfactory for all parties involved. Next, we reviewed the resolution process, reflect on the situation, the strategies you used, and the outcome. This is a crucial step in learning and growing as a freelancer. It's all about continuous improvement. And now, we've reached the end of our journey. But remember, every end is a new beginning, and every conflict is a new opportunity to hone your conflict resolution skills. Remember, conflict resolution is a skill that can be honed. So keep practicing, and before you know it, you'll be a pro at resolving conflicts in no time.